Hello, I'm Mike Lynn, Corporate Metrologist here at IndySoft, and welcome to another Tip Tuesday. This Tip Tuesday, I'm going to do something a little different. We're actually going to go into a little bit more advanced type stuff. There have been situations throughout my career and using IndySoft as a lab manager where there was information that I would like to have had on my screen that was not available through the normal data pipelines. So for example, here we have a department that's just a number. I may know my number for my department, but I don't know all the numbers in the company, so I don't know what they mean for the various groups within the organization. Another example may be the CAL procedure. My last job, we had over 600 procedures. There was no way I could remember all of the different procedure numbers and what they actually were. So looking at this flow transducer, I can't tell whether this CAL procedure number is correct for this or not. I would have to open it up and search for it, or I'd have to open it up and actually open the document and see if it's the correct one. Another example might be, okay, let's say I've got the CAL due here, but maybe I want another schedule. Maybe I want to know what the PM schedule due date is as well, without having to click on the scheduling tab and then look for it. So what we can do is insert SQL statements to go pull the data that we need. So in our layout designer, as you can see, each field that's brought in begins and ends with an exclamation, or the bang symbol is what we call it. That basically tells the compiler here that's looking at this that, okay, this is the start of some information that I'm going to go pull from my data pipeline. And then this ends it. Well, we can also use this very similar to, if you're familiar with mail merge in Word, where you put fields in different places for a template, and it goes and pulls it from a data pipeline somewhere. It's very similar to that. But instead of being tied to a fixed data pipeline, we can create our own on the fly. So, for instance, the CAL due dates, that comes from our calibration schedule group of fields. Well, this has got the calibration information, but it doesn't have the PMs. So what I can do is come in here, and I'm going to add PM due in my label. I'm going to add that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a piece of a SQL statement. So we start out with the bang symbol, just like we would normally. And then we start with the command SQL equals. Then we create our select statement to go pull the data. So we'll do select sched dot sched underscore due date. Excuse me. Underscore due date. If you'll notice, it's the same as this for the calibration due because it's stored in the same table. From SCHED is the name of the table itself, where company equals single quote, and then what we call our the caret is an escape character. And basically what it's doing is it's telling it that I want to go pull information from somewhere on this form or in this data pipeline. And I'm going to use the name of the field that I'm going to go be pulling out of. So in this instance, I'm going to use the field company. Helps if I spell it correctly. In the escape So what this is doing is it's telling that instead of hard coding a word, the name of a company in here, I want you to go pull this value from here, company. But that's not enough to get the correct one. So and gauge underscore SN equals, and we'll do the same thing. We need the actual gauge SN field, gauge underscore SN, which is that field right there, which is basically it's our ID field, the asset number, and we're the schedule type, and this one I can hard code. I have to spell it right. I have to end my statement with a semicolon and then close it out with the closing bang symbol. So the first question you probably have is, okay, where do I get this information? How do I know what these field names are or what these table names are? And that's where something called the data dictionary comes in. This is actually an executable file that's installed in your IndySoft directory when it's first installed or a revision is installed. It gives a listing of all of the tables and all of the fields within the database. They're put together in terms of groups based on what they are or where they're located within the program. So our procedures, if we go back here, are part of the add edit list under documentation procedures. So in the data dictionary, it's under the parent group of add edit lists, documentation procedures. So if I double click that, that takes me to that group. So there's 3 tables that are used to manage the procedures within the system. The main table is procs. So if we double click that, that takes me to the procs table and shows me all of the fields that are within there, what their type is, what their length is, whether they're key fields or not, and what their display name is within the program. So this is the alias to the actual field name. There are times in different areas of the program where we may have a field that was originally going to be used for one thing. We decided we didn't need to use it for that, and instead of creating a new field, we just kind of hijacked it. So there's some times where these names of the display name alias does not match what the actual true name of the field is. So this is very helpful when you're trying to find what field you're trying to deal with, because in your SQL statements, you have to know the exact field name. So back in our layout builder, so I've got this statement here. So I'm pulling the scheduled due date, which is I'm looking at the wrong thing here. So let me go back. Equipment. Schedule. So here we go. This is the table that handles the scheduling. So as you can see, the key fields are the company, the gauge SN, and the schedule type. So these 3 bits of information are what I need to find a particular record within this table. So walking back through this again, I'm looking for the scheduled due date, which is here. That's the date I want to pull back from schedule GI. This is the table where the company equals this company out here that I'm looking at on this record. The gauge SN is from this record, and the schedule type is maintenance. So if I save this, go back out here and reload my settings. Okay, so now I have a due date, schedule, a calibration date of 8/9, and a PM due of 5/23. So if I check my schedule, as you can see, that matches up. So it's pulling that bit of data out here. Now, when you're dealing with these other ones, it's a little bit more complicated. This was a fairly simple, straightforward one. In the particular case of the procedures and the departments, they're not tied to a specific record within the tables. That they're the way it's set up, it requires a joining of two tables. So if you're familiar with SQL, you know all about joins and unions and things like that, and all of that can be done in here. So as the example, let's go back to the procedures. Edit lists, document procedures. So in this case, to be able to find a specific one, I need to know the company and I need to know the procedure name. So the procedure name is out here. So we're going to want to pull that value from here to be able to go look it up. But we also need the company. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky in that some users of IndySoft have procedures for every company. Particularly if you may be a manufacturer or a place with multiple sites. A Cal Lab that may be using one site has all of their procedures in one company. So that's a case where you don't necessarily need to pull it from here. You would hard code the name of your laboratory company wherever your procedures are stored. So I've already got a piece of script written for that. And instead of you watching me type it, I will just paste it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in next to our procedure here, and I'm just going to paste it in. So let me change the font on this too. This is to match. That's Tahoma 8. And I want to change this to Tahoma 8. So I'll match my, there we go. So we're selecting the procedure description, which is the field that we want to display from procedures. Now I'm doing a left outer join on the gauges table using the procedure name field. Where the procedure or where the company is, I'm pulling from up here for the gauge. And the gauge SN is here. And the procedures company is MegaCal, which happens to be the name of the company where I have all of my procedures stored. So paying close attention to your bangs and your escapes to pull in the proper fields. If we save this and then reload it, as you can see, I've got the wrong procedure here. This is pH conductivity meters, and this is a flow transducer. So I can see right away that I've got the wrong one. So looking at here, see, somebody missed it by 1. So if I select there, now I can see that this matches what I should have. Same thing with the department. It's a very similar process. Let's go back here. And again, I've already got a piece of script set up. This also requires a join. Doesn't need to be in blue. And if I save that, so now I can see what the actual department is for that number. If I change to a different department, I can see the name of that department there, even though it's not available in the pipeline. So hopefully this will help you make better use of IndySoft and be able to put information out where it's useful. Now, this same concept applies on any of your layouts. So if you can build the select statement to get the proper information, you can put it out there anywhere you need it. Hope this helps and have a great day.